All right, it's 6:30. We're going to call to order. The December 7th Coralville Planning and Zoning meeting is now called to order. Can I get a roll call, please?
Aaron's.
Here.
Snyder. Here. Taylor. Slottick.
Here.
Farrell.
Here.
Higgins.
Here.
And Winman.
Here.
Do we have any corrections to the agenda? No corrections to the agenda. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Moved by Farrell, seconded.
Second.
Slottick. We will now vote on approval of the agenda. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Do we have any corrections to the minutes from the meeting of November 2nd, 2016?
Motion to approve.
Moved by Wenman, seconded
Second.
by Higgins. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Item number 5. First, we'd like to recognize the new chairperson, Matt Slottick, who will be taking over in 2017. And we will now take a nominations for co-chair for 2017.
I would like to nominate Ron Wenman.
All those who are in favor of having Ron take over as co-chair,
Second that.
say aye.
Well, we need a second.
Welcome aboard, Ron. I also would like to recognize, I believe we're losing 2 members next year. I believe Ms. Higgins and Mr. Farrell will not be with us next year, and thank you guys for your service this past, as long as I can remember, so thank you very much. Item number 6, public hearing by Scanlon Family LLC for the approval of the rezoning, revised preliminary plot, revised RPUD-A site plan of Scanlon Farms South Ridge. I will now open the public hearing.
Good evening, Dwayne Messer with MMS Consultants. On behalf of the client, I'd be happy to answer any questions that P&Z Commission may have on the application.
I don't believe we have anybody,
All right.
any questions at this time?
Okay.
You'll be here all night?
Yes.
Would anybody else like to speak on behalf of this agenda item?
Is it open? to-
Yes, it is, ma'am. Go ahead.
So I'm Jana Wessel, Cedar Drive, 3831 Cedar Drive Northeast, North Liberty, live across the street by the square, Point Access Road. So we continue to be concerned about the density. I know the developer says it's not dense whatsoever, but the character of the area. I had a little trouble this time, and maybe someone can explain. It looks like another 400 units have been added. So expressing concern throughout the process about what this does. We talked about traffic, but again, just the quality of life, why the necessity for such high density in the area. Other Coralville developments just in areas like this that are slightly more rural, it doesn't fit in, and we do worry about the, as I said, sort of traffic, light, high density, water issues, etc. And just wonder if there could be a little more explanation about what is being added, which again I thought was 400 more units. Thank you.
Anyone else wish to speak on behalf of this agenda item?
Yes, my name's Jim Gokin. Live at 3815 Cedar Drive, just to the east of the development. And I also want to say that I was shocked to see the expansion in the number of units in this. I thought this was going to be a revision or a minor update of the plan, and this looks like a 42% increase to me. Was that incorrect in my calculations? Is that within allowable limits?
I think what we're looking at now is 1,032 units, and the one that was previously approved was 864, possibly? 46, okay. So it's that much of an increase over the one that was approved previously, which was back in March.
Well, I thought I'd counted a good bit more than that when I actually,
That was what was on, that, we've had several renditions between now and then, but none that have actually been acted on or approved.
and the one that's being presented tonight,
I believe it's 1,032.
1,032. Okay, thank you.
Anyone else wish to speak on this matter? Yes, sir.
Just to clarify some of the comments and concerns, our information shows that we had 945 units on the application that was back in March of this year. Jim is correct, we're at 1032. And a few of the changes since then, the city staff has been working with another engineering consulting firm on a water main study, and I guess I'll let Scott go into a little bit more information on that if you'd like. But one of the reasons for the revision now is we weren't going to have water pressure for the multifamily buildings that we had along North Liberty Road. Staff also had some concerns for those larger buildings along that existing road and would like to see those down in the new development. So we did move those down into a future Forever Green Road there where Scott's highlighting. By doing that did allow us to pick up some units there. There's been a few changes on the proposed school site, and some of the modifications there have triggered some additional units. And then one of the other comments from staff, Scott, if you could go all the way up by the high school, we did convert some single family there that back up to Dubuque to duplexes, just to try to get that transition from the more intense multifamily eightplexes to the duplexes instead of having the single across the road for them from those eightplexes. So there's been several versions of this since March, working with staff, the school district, the water main study. I do believe that at 6 units per acre, the maximum would be 1382 or something like that, depending on the total area that you use. So we do feel we're well below the max. Obviously, the max is not a goal, but obviously we have increased in units, and a lot of that is just going through the design process and back and forth with city staff.
Yeah, we had in our notes 1460. Was the
14,
max-
okay, yeah,
max
again,
allowed.
yep. There's been some different total areas if you're using the new schools versus the old school
Yep.
and things like that, so.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else wish to speak on behalf of this topic? All right, I'm now going to close the public hearing. Do I have a motion to consider the approval of the rezoning?
So moved.
Moved by Snyder, seconded.
Second.
Taylor, discussion.
Scott, can you pull up the, I'll just go over briefly for you the rezoning. The only part of this that's being rezoned is that auditor's parcel right there, which was which was the original site of a school, the elementary school. So it wasn't rezoned previously.
Right here.
It's still R1, where the rest of the site is all an RPUD. So to include that into this site, it had to also be rezoned from R1 to RPUD. That's a reason for the rezoning, and it's only that area right there that's being rezoned. The rest of it's already existing.
Any further discussion on this, guys? All right, we'll now do a vote on this. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion carries. Do I have a motion to consider the approval of the revised preliminary plot?
So moved.
Moved by Farrell, seconded.
Second.
Slottick, discussion.
I don't really have any comments on the preliminary plat for you at all. It shows a couple little things that are different. The area way to the south, the green area that is going to eventually be way down there, City Park, is not part of this plating at this point in time. Originally it was, it's taken out of this plating at this time. It's still going to come to the city as a city park. It's just going to be dedicated to us by the actual Scanlon family rather than the developer. So that's the only difference. So it's been taken off of this plan, taken out of the plating procedure right now, and then it will come to us from the actual Scanlon family. Other than that, you're just looking at some plating, which would probably be the first stages of development, and then some outlots, which will be final platted and brought to us as a PUDB site plan when they are to be developed. But it'll be developed in stages. So what you're looking at now is some of the first stages of development with the lot showing.
I think one of the changes on here was the school location as well, wasn't it? Between
The
one
fifth
phase and
edition
two?
is a
Yeah.
school location, yes.
Okay. Any more discussion? All right, we will now vote on the approval of the revised preliminary plot. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion carries. Do I have a motion to consider the approval of the revised RPUD-A site plan?
So moved.
Moved by Wendman, seconded.
Second.
Snyder, discussion.
Scott, could you pull up on the earlier version, I guess the last one we approved on that multifamily count?
The count?
Yeah,
Okay.
mainly the big buildings.
You're talking the one from March?
If that's the last one we approved.
Yeah, it's the only one that's ever been approved.
Yeah.
Right. March 10th.
There you go.
And you can see here, there's 3 multifamily apartment, or
Okay.
apartment buildings, and then
Right, that hasn't changed.
that hasn't changed.
Okay.
So you can see this was broken down at additional levels than what we're looking at tonight.
Yeah. Okay, so now we're at 4.
And as was mentioned earlier, there was, basically, staff was pretty strong on the fact that we felt that the location proposed on these earlier versions for the 36-unit apartments or 30-unit apartments, combination of those, right along North Liberty Road just didn't seem appropriate. So we actually did suggest moving those more internal to the development, and staff feels that the new proposal is definitely a big step in the right direction on that.
Does that help with the water pressure then, too, that he mentioned?
It does, yeah. Those previous units, particularly this one here and this one here, were about as high as you could get out there. And we already have some water pressures for single-family homes, water pressure issues on the north end of North Liberty Road within our city limits. So go 2 or 3 stories up and it gets even worse. So this puts them down more in the, I guess you don't call it the valley, just at a lower elevation. So the water pressure is no longer an issue for those larger buildings.
Okay.
I don't know if this helps showing it side by side, but I just wanted to bring that up. So you can see there's more townhomes, including this area here is now a townhome with direct access onto Pendleton Avenue, whereas before they were proposing driveways out onto North Liberty Road, which staff was very adamant that we not do that.
Any other questions? Good? Anybody else have any questions? All right, we will now vote on the approval of the revised RPUD-A site plan. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
Nay.
2? Abstained? Motion carries. Five to 2 on that, D?
Slottick and Higgins.
Yep. Item number 7, request by Jaris Incorporated for the approval of an amended preliminary plot of Jaris Edition and the final plot of Jaris Edition. We have a motion to consider the approval of the amended preliminary plot.
So moved.
Oh, sorry, there, Mr.
Well,
Mercer.
on behalf of the applicant, I'd like to withdraw this application.
Of this one? Okay.
Yes, the preliminary and final both, please.
You want to do what with it?
Withdraw both plats.
Okay. Do I have a motion to consider the approval of his withdrawal?
So moved.
I'm guessing we have to do it. Moved by Farrell, seconded.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right, we will remove that off the agenda item. Thank you. Thank you. Any news for next month besides Mr. Matt taking over?
No, we're just all excited about that. Why?
Especially the crowd.
We have actually one thing we're looking at for next month at this point in time, and maybe a land use amendment situation. So we'll have one, we're looking at a redevelopment for the old Brisky property down there that may come up, may be finalized enough to come to you next month, and then a land use amendment for the Oakdale Boulevard area possibly. So that's what we have.
All right. Do I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
So moved.
Moved by Snyder, seconded by Higgins. Meeting is now adjourned.